Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from MSNBC's Hardball, Chris Matthews.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural Kennedy Forum on Community Mental Health, and I'm delighted to be with you here this evening. It's very fitting, of course, that we're gathered at the Presidential Library of John F. Kennedy. I've called President Kennedy an elusive hero, and tonight we commemorate one of our heroes' most elusive and greatest goals. That goal, President Kennedy told Congress in 1963, had three parts: to seek out the causes of mental illness and someday eradicate them, to strengthen and improve the programs and facilities serving the mentally ill, and to mount and sustain an attack on mental disability for many years to come. And with so many pieces of the new frontier, as in so many pieces, President Kennedy's approach to mental health was far-sighted and, I believe, bold. It called on researchers to look into the very interiors of our minds, of course, and on all Americans to look deep into their hearts. What President Kennedy began half a century ago lives on in the patients, practitioners, and policymakers right here in this room, and it lives on in the one man in particular whom I now have the great privilege of introducing, the Honorable Patrick J. Kennedy. As many of you know, I'm a student of history and of the Kennedys, and as someone who studied President Kennedy, I've watched Patrick ever since he was elected to the Rhode Island House of Representatives at the tender age of 21. More, Patrick, more to say. He then became U.S. Congressman Kennedy, upholding the family's legacy of public service for 8 productive terms in the U.S. House of Representatives. And during that time, Congressman Kennedy focused his legislative efforts on protecting and expanding the rights of those with mental health issues and substance disorders, culminating in the passage of the Mental Health Parity and Addiction Equity Act in 2008. What Patrick Kennedy is doing today to integrate mental health into overall health is what the Kennedy family has always done. It echoes President Kennedy's call to conscience in the struggle for civil rights, his Uncle Bobby sending forth ripples of hope in the unjust world, and Aunt Eunice lifting the lives of people with disabilities. And of course, Patrick's work carries on the dream that will never die, his father Ted's lifelong pursuit of justice and equality for all the vulnerable among us. Massachusetts' own Tip O'Neill, who I had the honor to serve all those years, famously said that all politics is local. Patrick Kennedy's motto is, all politics is personal. He's taken his own experience and used it as a means to connect people, Democratic and Republican, psychiatrists and social workers and veterans, because he knows that it will take all of us working together to put an end to discrimination and unequal treatment in health care. But with President Kennedy's remarkable nephew leading the charge, we are finally closing in on that elusive goal of equality in mental health. It is now my great honor to turn the program over to the man standing directly behind me who made this whole forum possible, Patrick J. Kennedy.